If you are like me, mothering your husband, then watch this video because I'm going to offer you how I changed that behavior and the results that I've seen as a result of me changing my behavior and the mind shift that I did to actually do this. But first, let's start with the definition. Okay, so what is mothering a man or a husband? So according to Dr. Michelle Goldman, who's a doctor and psychologist, he says parenting a partner occurs when you intentionally or unintentionally are in the role of a parent or a caregiver to your romantic partner. So basically, in other words, you are trying to control their behavior. So it looks like this, right? If you remind him to do his tasks, if you get mad at him, if he misses work, asking him if he has prayed, booking doctor's appointment for him when he can easily do so, keeping all finances, and giving him an allowance. So if you do some of this behavior or all of it, then you are mothering your husband. So when you mother your husband, it leads to the following, okay? Number one, resentment. Because of the inequality this mothering behavior causes in the relationship, no one wants to be treated like a child. So it kind of builds this resentfulness in the husband towards his wife because she's treating him like that. Number two is feeling distant from each other. You feel distant because he can never meet your standards, and he feels it because of your constant nagging and criticism. Number three, he stops initiating intimacy because, let's face it, no one is attracted to their mother. The control behavior kills attraction. And because you guys are emotionally disconnected, this leads to him stopping initiating intimacy or for you guys to go out or do something special together. He stops initiating that. Number four, he sabotages himself. There's a saying that says, whatever you focus on grows. If you want if you focus on the negative behavior that you don't want, which is for example, for me, is unemployment in this situation, right? I start focusing on that behavior. I talk about it. I criticize that behavior. I tell him that you cannot lose time, that time is of the essence, that you should be sending resumes, you should be doing this. So I focus on that behavior and it grows unintentionally. So if you want something to grow, focus on it. So for me, in that case, I should be focusing on something positive, not the negative thing. Number five, he becomes forgetful and full of excuses. Because of your constant demands, they start developing this situation where they constantly forget, or because they don't want to do it, and he don't want to say no because he doesn't want to create a conflict or a tension in the situation. So he brushes off and says oh, okay, I forgot. Or he comes up with all these excuses, so you start seeing that. Number six, he withdraws and becomes busy with other activities or goes out a lot more and stays out late because he's avoiding you. And as a result, you start feeling lonely and you feel the distance. In my case, he was going out a lot more, becoming social with his friends and staying out late. So that affected me, and I started of course, again, nagging about the situation. Why are you doing this? Why are you coming home late? Why are you doing this? And it's a perpetual cycle wherein we go in cycles and cycles about the same problems. Number seven, because of all of this, you respect him less, unintentionally, and because he is not meeting your standards, and he feels that. So he either avoids you altogether or he starts disrespecting you. Number eight, you argue more. Because of the power dynamic that you guys have, he starts acting like a teenager whenever you have a situation and argues about the simplest situation. This creates more conflict in your relationship. So how can you change this dynamic, right? I tell you from experience that this is all in your mind. Girl, you have to do it. It's a mind shift. Then you need to, after you do that mind shift, you have to practice. Okay? So follow these 6 steps that I'm going to tell you, and inshallah you will see a result like almost immediately. Okay? Number 1, decide you will stop the control. Okay? So because the truth is we can only control ourselves. You cannot control anybody. You cannot control your husband. You cannot change anybody. So control is an illusion, basically. You cannot control any situation. Allah controls everything, right? So give up control, Tell yourself, I am not in control of anything. Allah has all the control. Please make adhkar. Connect yourself with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remind yourself, whenever you feel frustrated about a situation or triggered about a situation, just remind yourself, Allah has all the control. Allah has all the control, and make a dua. Allah has all the control, make adhkar, right? You cannot control anything. And if you feel like a situation is getting out of hand, please use that prayer mat, pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and pour your heart to Him. Number 2, look inward for the fears you have that are the basis of your control. You have to ask yourself, why is this situation triggering? What are you afraid of? Like, what is the fear behind the control? Like, is it a dynamic that you've seen in your childhood? Are you letting the child in you lead the situation? Is it because you lack control of your emotions, like emotional regulation? For me, it was fear of vulnerability. Let me just say I'm allergic to being vulnerable. So I was always avoiding vulnerability. I want to be in a strong position. Therefore, I need to control the situation. Therefore, I need to lead. And I'm a natural leader, so I'm always trying to fix problems. And that is not my job. So after I looked inward, I decided, you know what? There is nothing wrong with being vulnerable. And when I decided to get married, I decided to be vulnerable with this person. I am codependent with this person, whether I like it or not. And I have to have trust in him. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I have to have trust in Allah that Allah will never forsake me, that Allah will not leave me alone in a situation, that Allah will always present solutions, right? I don't have to look for solutions. I don't have to fix anything. I don't have to fix anyone. And I also have to have trust in my husband. He will try his best to solve the problems that we have. And so I have to take a step back. Realizing where my fear is coming from helped me. Wallahi, I'm not lying to you ladies, helped me with my control tendencies. Because I understand where my fear is coming from, okay, I'm afraid of vulnerability. Let me face this head on. So, khalas, I just put that hat away. Khalas, I'm not trying to control this situation anymore. I'm not trying to control anybody anymore. I'm not trying to be fearful. Khalas, it's on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hands. I'm going to trust my husband, and that's all. So it's easier said than done. You need to practice a lot, especially with number 3. Because number 3 is, if you tell me a year ago about this number 3, it would just drive me okay, I don't even know how to practice it. But let me tell you. Number 3 is listen and pause before saying anything. You know what? I only practiced tip number 3. Wallahi, I could have avoided a lot of conflicts, a lot of arguments, a lot of situations if I only paused and listened. Sometimes you're saying a lot with your silence. You don't have to say every word that comes to your mind. You don't have to be reactive. If you are reactive like me, you don't have to be reactive. You don't. You already know. If you are principled, you know your values, you're principled. Your husband knows you. You don't have to comment on everything, right? If he knows his responsibilities, which all husbands know their responsibilities, unless we're talking about a very bad husband, and then that's not my podcast. If you have a regular husband who knows their responsibilities, who is not abusive, then they would assume their responsibilities. And so it's safe to say that you don't have to say much. Like, you don't have to criticize. You don't have to, hit them under the belt. You don't have to, say, whatever you're thinking about the situation. You don't have to communicate that you have low expectations, with them, right? So practice listening and pausing before saying anything. Especially when you're having a conflict. Pause. It's Islamic, right? To pause and not respond in anger. That way, you're not leading with your emotions. You're leading with your values. You're leading with, when you pause and think about what you're going to say, you are going to say something that you calculated only. You're not going to say anything that comes to your mind or, your emotions. If you're angry, you're going to communicate anger. If you're happy, you're just going to communicate happiness. No. Just be more balanced. And again, this comes with a lot of practice. You have to look inwards. You have to listen to yourself. You have to do all the inner work before you can reach this point. Number 4 is whenever your husband asks you for your opinion, because with the dynamic that I explained about the mother and son, they're going to come to you a lot and they're going to ask you about their your opinion, because they want to be validated, right? Because they're so dependent on hearing your opinion, hearing your criticism, hearing your compliments. Now they want you to approve of their opinions, approve of their decisions. So what I'm saying is, whenever they come to you with they want an opinion, say whatever you think, or I trust you will take care of that. It encourages accountability and they become less reliant on you. And it shows that you also trust them, which is a good thing. Number 5 is to focus on the positives and be grateful. Okay, every marriage has positive, right? Your husband has a lot of positive traits. They could be generous. They could be reliable. They could be dependable. They could be hardworking. So please, instead of focusing on the negative attributes that they have, for example, my husband procrastinates. Instead of me focusing on that, I would focus on his generosity. I would focus on he's very reliable. He's very communicative. I would focus on the positive traits that they have, instead of focusing on the negatives and dwelling on that and what ifs. And what ifs comes from the shaitan, right? If whenever you go that down that trail, it comes from shaitan, the waswas. The shaitan whispers is gonna just make you go cray. Oh, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if that happens? Just don't do that. Control your thoughts and focus on the positives. Say, Alhamdulillah, he's like this. Alhamdulillah, he's like this. And inshallah, you'll make dua for him to get better at this and this and that. But don't say anything to him. It's between you and Allah. Because that's criticizing if you say something about his bad behaviors to him. Because we're all imperfect, right? Who is perfect? Alhamdulillah, your husband is not pointing out at you or pointing his fingers at you saying that you suck at this, you're not doing this, and start criticizing you like you do to him. Wallahi, ladies, I'm not I am ashamed to say this, I did not put a mirror in front of me. I never imagined if my husband talked to me the way I talked to him before. I would be devastated. I just cannot believe he would do that. So I don't know, wallahi, the kind of image right now my husband has about me, but I have to I'm doing a lot of changes. I did a lot of changes, and I really hope that I want to be a better version for myself, first of all, and for my husband, secondly. And because he deserves the best version of me, just like I deserve the best version of him. And how can he get better if I don't get better, right? It's like a dance, right? It's like a tit for tat. I have to get better. He has to get better. We all have to get better. For ourselves, for our children, for our family, and alhamdulillah. Number 6 is to treat your husband like a friend. Okay, when it comes to communication, we have to have mutual respect, right? Even if he triggers you. Even if like there's no excuse for disrespect. Just remember, like, okay, whenever you have this tendency to disrespect him or to criticize or say something, just think of like how you would talk to a friend, right? Usually, like our best friend or our friend, like we respect them, right? Even if they say something that triggers us, we try to address it in a respectful manner. Like we don't really like, just, give it back to them, or like, you know how we take our husbands for granted? We don't do that. So do that mind shift, like do that, like talk to him like a friend. Ladies, start practicing those 6 steps and immediately, inshallah, you will see a shift in your man's behavior. Suddenly, you will see that he is stepping up, mashallah. He will be afraid to disappoint you because you know what? He likes what he sees. He likes the changes that you're doing. And so he doesn't want to disappoint you. He want to like do his part. And he will start respecting you just like you are respecting him. And when you say something, he knows you mean it. Because nowadays, you don't say anything that comes to your mind. You pick your battles, right? And if you heard like that term, I used to hear like pick your battle all the time. But I never practiced it. I never really knew like how it looks like practicing that. And more importantly, this is the most important one. You will feel more at peace. Ask me how, because I feel it now. Wallahi, I feel more at peace. I don't feel the need to control. I don't feel the need to I don't feel like the weight of everything is on my shoulders. Why did I even marry my husband if I'm going to carry that weight? I married him for a reason, because I saw a leader in him, and I'm going to trust that leader. And I'm going to trust Allah more importantly. Khalas. I'm just going to do my job being a wife and being a mother. If you like what you heard, or if a tip resonated with you, please comment and let me know. And if you have a dilemma regarding this, either email me or, comment. Assalamu alaikum.